Welcome to the Forefront Radio. Welcome to the Forefront Radio. Hope everybody's doing all right. Hope everybody's doing all right. At the Forefront Radio, we sound the trumpet against systemic injustice. I'm your host, Afio Levi. Today, we expose the barbaric, inhumane, and politically racist apparatus of ICE. ICE, baby, culminating in yet another travel ban that closes America's doors to the oppressed. Our first topic of conversation is the several migrants, mostly in Djibouti, who were locked in a steel shipping container in 90-degree heat weather, without water, without ventilations, without bathroom, without oversight. And an NPR investigation revealed that they were told to use the corner. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. In a shipping container, folks. Let me show you this article from NPR News. And we're going to show you the truth because the Bible says the truth does not fear investigation, right? Let me show it to you on the screen. All right, notice what this says here. Notice what this says here. Deportees are being held in converted shipping container in Djibouti, ICE says, June the 6th, 2025. All right, watch this. A group of deported migrants is living in a converted shipping container, not a house, not a detention facility, a shipping container. A shipping container, folks, at a U.S. military base in Djibouti, a country in East Africa, where they are guarded around the clock by a small team of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers, according to a Thursday court filing. Several migrants have been stuck at the base for more than 2 weeks after the airplane they were on, which was originally bound for South Sudan, was rerouted mid-trip due to a federal judge's ruling. The court ruling came after multiple people facing deportation fought the Trump administration's effort to send them to South Sudan. Now their case has been reached all the way to the Supreme Court, which could issue a ruling at any time. It's the latest example of migrants being caught in the middle of legal crosshairs between Trump's efforts to streamline deportations and the court's push for due process. Since the flight landed in Djibouti, ICE officers have been left with limited resources, and the migrants have been held with very limited communication with their families and no communication with their lawyers. So where's the due process? We don't even have access to courts systems, and you're being dragged across the country to another place. On Wednesday, lawyers for the migrants said some of the detainees were able to make contact with families for the first time since being put on the flight on May 20th. ICE did not immediately respond to the request for comment on why the officers and migrants were still in Djibouti. Working and detention conditions are dire. In a Thursday court filing, Melissa Harper, acting deputy executive associate director at ICE, said that the migrants were being held in a conference room in a converted Connex shipping container at Camp Lemonnier at a U.S. Navy base. She said the ICE contingent includes 11 officers assigned to guard the deportees and 2 officers to support medical staff. The ICE personnel are working 12-hour shifts, and Harper noted that they do not have the capacity to maintain constant surveillance, custody, and care of aliens for prolonged periods of time. Now, you know why this is important, folks? Because some people will say, oh, Forefront, there's no proof. Forefront, you're making it up. Oh, it's just an NPR article. Here's the actual court document, y'all. Here's the actual court document. You understand? So we're not making stuff up when we're telling you what's going on in modern day society and how they are mistreating and misrepresenting people throughout our diaspora, We got the proof, y'all. We got the evidence. It's right in front of your face. Here's the actual court document. Notice what this court document is saying, y'all. Notice what this court document is saying. It says United States District Court, District of Massachusetts. Here's the name of the lady. Declaration of Melissa B. Harper. We're going to type Control F and type shipping to see if it's mentioning shipping container. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. The aliens are currently being held in conference rooms in convex shipping container. A shipping container, y'all. A shipping container. That ain't right, y'all. That ain't right. This brings us to our next article that's we're going to talk about, y'all. So the information is readily available for those that want to research it, y'all. You understand? So the next thing we're going to touch on is the fact that NPR also put an article, because some might say, oh, this is just something dealing with migrants under the Trump administration. Y'all, this was going on even under Biden's administration. So don't get it twisted. Let's go to Job chapter 9, verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the Bible verse is telling you that the earth currently is under the control of the wicked. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, y'all. Whoever's controlling the world today, the Bible calls the wicked. So y'all Christians been looking around for the Antichrist this whole time, and you are the system of the Antichrist. Your system of Western civilization causes chaos throughout the planet. Why is there a United States military base in Africa? And it's utilized to detain people that just want to make a better life for themselves, and they allegedly call them criminals when they're not. Leaving the people without water, without ventilation, without bathrooms, without oversight, and telling them go use the corner. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. Let's go to Job chapter 24, verse 7. Let's go to Job chapter 24, verse 7 in the Bible. Let's go to Job chapter 24, verse 7. Let's go to Job chapter 24, verse 7. It says, they cause the naked to lodge without clothing, that they have no covering in the cold. You hear what the Bible say? You hear what the Bible say? This is the thought process of Eurocentric delusionalism and how they mistreat people throughout the world, y'all. Throughout the world. This is ice cold injustice. Ice cold injustice. They're not treating people correctly nor fairly. You understand? So now NPR has an article entitled Barbaric and Neglect Treatment. In this article, they report and uncover systemic violations, spoiled food, medical neglect, retaliation, and denial of mental health. DHS inspectors found 157 critical violations across 6 facilities, what they describe as inhumane indifference. Inhumane indifference. Let's look at that article briefly. And this was under the previous administration of your boy Joe Biden. Listen close to this.
Accused the president of being too lenient toward migrants. Now the administration is locking up more unauthorized immigrants and asylum seekers in detention facilities. And NPR has exclusively obtained more than 1,600 pages of confidential inspection reports examining conditions inside those facilities. They describe barbaric practices, negligent medical care, racist abuse, and filthy conditions. NPR's Tom Dry.
So if they're having racist abuse, right? Why are they not doing this to Ukrainian immigrants? Why are they not doing this to European immigrants? Why is it that they're only impacting Black and brown people? Y'all, the government's own experts found that they're being barbaric, racist. You understand? This is very important information that we have to understand in these last days, where they're utilizing immigration policies against specific nationalities. Specific nationalities, y'all. Listen close.
Tom Dreisbach reports, and just a warning, the story includes some disturbing details.
There's this home video of Kamiar Samimi in the 1990s playing with his 2 young daughters on a slide at a little green park in Colorado at dusk. He was born in Iran, moved to the US to study computer science in the 1970s. He got a green card, built a family, and on this video, he tells his daughter in Farsi to wave hi to grandma back in Iran.
He loved it here.
That's one of his daughters, Neda Samimi Gomez. Neda told me that growing up, you could always find her dad with a can of Pepsi in his hand, smelling like oil from his job as a mechanic, watching NASCAR and other American TV.
We would sit down in the summers and watch Law and Order. That was our thing. Like, he wanted me to become a lawyer.
Because of Law and Order?
Because of Law and Order, yeah.
Kamiyar Samimi also struggled with drugs. It started as a kid back in Iran when he was given opium for tooth pain. In the US, he was prescribed methadone, which he took to manage opioid use disorder for more than 2 decades. He and Neda were close, but by the time she was an adult, they didn't see each other all the time. Then came November 2017.
We had been trying to reach him to invite him over for Thanksgiving, and we weren't able to get a hold of him on his phone at all.
You must have been worried during
Yes.
that time.
And then even more so worried when I found out he was detained by ICE.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement had arrested her dad and taken him to an ICE detention center in Aurora, Colorado. Kamiyar Samimi was a lawful permanent resident, but back in 2005, he pleaded guilty to possessing less than a gram of cocaine and was sentenced to community service. 12 years later, ICE decided that conviction meant they could deport Kamiyar.
12 years later. 12 years later. 12. Hold on a second. You get convicted of a criminal offense in the United States. You already do your service and you do your due diligence, and 12 years later, they decide to deport you for something that happened literally over a decade ago. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. You know how much you European people doing evil in the United States, doing drugs in the United States, and they just get a slap on the wrist, and they're literally foreigners with no visa, no papers, nothing. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. You can't make this stuff up. This is weird stuff, man. You know why? Because they're being biased to individuals, right? And they're having injustice towards individuals based on their race. Do not think that this immigration policy is for everyone. No, it's targeting you based on race. You understand? You can't make this stuff up, y'all. 12 years ago, this man got caught up in an offense, and for some strange reason, they decided to say, even though it was 12 years ago, let's try to lock your ass up again. You can't make this stuff up. This is evil. This is evil. You understand? This is not justice, y'all. This is wickedness masqueraded as justice. You understand? Watch this. It says the reports provide an unprecedented look at the ICE detention system through the eyes of experts hired to investigate complaints of civil rights abuses, who provide an often unvarnished perspective. These experts have specific expertise in subjects such as medicine, mental health, use of force, and environmental health. Sources familiar with these inspections tell NPR that they often uncover problems and other governmental inspections that they miss. These reports are chilling, they are damning, said Eunice Cho, senior staff attorney of the American Civil Liberties Union National Prison Project and an expert on ICE detention. When NPR shared the report's findings, they really show how the government's own inspectors can see the abuses and the level of abuses of what is happening in these ICE detention centers. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. And that's under the former administration. That's under Biden. You understand? They were saying that these jokers were being barbaric under Biden. So don't think that Trump being empowered, this is something new for us, folks. This is not something new. This is an ongoing war on immigration. This is ice cold injustice. Now, the next segment we're going to touch on is Physician for Human Rights, The Endless Nightmare, where they chronicle detainees held in solitary confinement for over 300 days, stripped of due process, stripped of sunlight, stripped of legal access, and subject to psychological torture. You understand? But before we do that, let's read Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 3. Thus saith the Lord, execute ye judgments and righteousness, and deliver the spoiled out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong. Do no violence to the stranger. What does the Bible say? Do no violence to the stranger, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. So if you call yourself a Christian nation, right? If you call yourself a Christian nation, why are you oppressing those that you call strangers or quote unquote aliens? Why are you oppressing the fatherless, the orphans? Why are you oppressing the widow? Many accounts we find where people are being persecuted just based on their race, and they say, oh, you did something 12 years ago, so we're going to deport you out of the country. And their families are left abandoned. You understand? Let me show you this article about Physicians for Human Rights, which talks about what ICE has been doing to the people. Let's share the screen. Endless nightmare. All right, y'all can see that. Let me get a 1 in the chat if everybody can see that. Let me make it bigger so y'all can read it with me. All right, Endless Nightmare is a report by Physicians for Human Rights, PHR, that examines the experiences of individuals held in solitary confinement within immigration detention facilities. The report details the harmful effects of prolonged isolation on detainees' physical and mental health, and it critiques the lack of adequate medical care within these settings. The report highlights several key issues: psychological and physical harm. Solitary confinement, even for relatively short periods, can have devastating consequences for mental and physical health, including anxiety, depression, psychosis, and self-harm. Lack of adequate medical care. Detainees in solitary confinement often face significant barriers to accessing necessary medical and mental health treatment. Oversight deficiencies. The report raises concerns about the lack of oversight and accountability within immigration detention facilities, particularly concerning the use of solitary confinement. Impact on vulnerable populations, aka Black people. The report emphasizes that solitary confinement disproportionately affects vulnerable populations. When they say vulnerable population, that means Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. That means they place their racist ideology on the children of the diaspora, including individuals with pre-existing mental health conditions and those with limited English proficiency. Endless Nightmare calls for an end to the use of solitary confinement in immigration detention facilities and for increased transparency and accountability within the system. Y'all, there is no accountability for those that are deceivers on the earth. There is no accountability for those that are wicked on the earth. Ice cold injustice is a war on immigrants, but guess what? It's also a war on U.S. citizens. Because you thought because this is happening to other people, right? That U.S. citizens are not impacted. Hmm? You thought that U.S. citizens are not being deported. Y'all better wake up to the reality of this thing. This is another fake war. This is another fake war that they set up, just like the fake war on drugs that they did, right? Where now you'll see U.S. citizens being deported for under so-called immigration, because they equate immigration to terrorism now, right? That's what they're doing. I'm gonna show it to you on the screen so that way you know we're not making this up. Look at this. Top stories. 1 day ago. 1 day ago. When was this? 1 day ago. Trump again brings up the idea of deporting U.S. citizens for crimes. You can't make this stuff up. Can Trump strip Musk and Madani of their U.S. citizenship? Trump seizes a moral character loophole as a way to revoke citizenship. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. So now all they got to do is accuse you of a crime, right? How many black people went to jail over the last 20 years in Dothan, Alabama, and then it was later found out that the cops was planning schmugs on them? You can't make this stuff up, man. And it irritates me how people are so intellectually dishonest where they think that, oh, it's just happening to, people that are bad guys. No, innocent people get locked up all the time in America. Trump again brings the idea of deporting U.S. citizens for crimes. What U.S. citizens they're going to...
So one-stop shop to deportation surrounded by alligators and pythons. That's how the Trump administration is describing the president's new detention center in Florida. The Everglades, well...
One second. Let me close it out. Y'all bear with me. My internet is not as fast as I would like it to be, so bear with me. Let me reshare the live. 1 second. 1 second. All right, so in this article, you see President Trump continued on Tuesday to float his idea, which some legal experts say is unconstitutional, to deport U.S. citizens for crimes. To deport U.S. citizens for crimes. Y'all, that's what they're doing in 2025, y'all. That's what they're doing in 2025. They're falsely accusing United States citizens of being criminal and being involved in criminal activity for the sole purpose of trying to deport U.S. citizens. Now, black folks think, oh, let's stay out of this. This got nothing to do with us. When they don't realize that this is going to impact us all in the diaspora. Now, let's read some scripture. Lamentations chapter 3, verse 7 says this. Lamentations chapter 3, verse 7, it says, He have hedged me about, that I cannot get out. He have made my chain heavy, showing you that there is a criminalization of individualization and nationalities going on in America today. Everyone that's non-white is being criminalized. Watch this. Let's go to Isaiah 42:22. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled, meaning what? Robbed of their identity, robbed of their culture, robbed of their way of life, robbed of who they are as a nation of people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, this is talking about you. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. Who's suffering from mass incarceration? We are. Who's suffering from mass deportations? We are. Who's suffering from travel bans going on in both Caribbean countries and African countries? We are. And black folks don't commit terroristic actions. They don't. The most people that's doing the activities of going into schools and going pew, pew, pew is non-melanated folks. We know that to be a fact. We know that the biggest threat to the United States is Eurocentric delusionalism, aka white nationalism, that does all the atrocities, but they're not deporting them. They're not deporting these European Americans that's going into schools and going pew, 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 unaliving innocent men, women, and children. They're not doing that. The hypocrisy is unreal, y'all. The hypocrisy is unreal. So we're going to touch on the new travel ban. On June the 4th, President Trump issued a nationality-based travel ban effective June the 9th, targeting nationals from 12 countries on the full ban list and imposing partial restrictions on 7 others. Afghanistan, that's in Asia. Burma, Myanmar, that's in Asia. Chad, that's in Africa. Republic of Congo, that's in Africa. Equatorial Guinea, that's in Africa. Eritrea, that's in Africa. Haiti, that's in the Caribbean islands. Iran, that's in Asia. Now we got Afro-Iranians that live over there, right? Libya, remember America had destabilized Libya? Now they don't want people from Libya to come over there after they destabilized it. Same thing with Haiti. Somalia, that's in Africa. Sudan, that's in Africa. Yemen, that's in Arabia, right across the street from Africa. A partial ban on Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, Venezuela. Watch this, y'all. No humanitarian or student or international exceptions. There's no waiver for urgent needs. Refugee resettlement is halted indefinitely, and another barrier for already desperate people. This makes absolutely no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. Y'all understand that in Haiti, in 2021, the United States unalived their president. Then the people tried to leave from Haiti to go to live in the United States, and you saw men on horses, right? Chasing after Haitian migrants as if it was 1748. You understand? That's what was going on at the Texas border. Men with whips and chains, right? Chasing after migrants looking for a better life, y'all. You got U.S. border agents that were chasing migrants on horseback with whips in their hands, y'all. Y'all forgot about that. Y'all thought that America was nice and kind-hearted to everybody, the land of opportunity and freedom and justice for all. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The same image that you could remember in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s of white men on horses with whips chasing black people, right? And we're so delusional that we don't see history repeating itself. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. Here's the article on Trump's new ban. Trump's new travel ban. Proclamation bars travelers from 12 countries. By NPR Washington desk, Asma Khalid, June 4th, 2025. President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed a proclamation, aka executive order, banning travelers from 12 countries and partially restricting travelers from 7 others, starting on Monday, June the 9th. Here's the list of the ban: Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen. I guarantee you, if you do a Google search, you will see how the United States has negatively impacted and destabilized all these countries, all of them. Every single one on this list, the United States either invaded or bombed or sent CIA to infiltrate or sent executives of economic hitmen to manipulate their countries into making deals with the United States, or they sanctioned them, or they banned them, or I guarantee you, if you investigate and look far enough, you will see that the United States of America has their hand in impacting these countries negatively for a long period of time, y'all. For a long period of time. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. Now, the dire question that we must ask as so-called African Americans is, how does this impact us? How does this impact us? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Meaning what? They set up executive orders. They set up laws when they're literally banning black and brown populations, like Eritrea, that's an African country, that's a black country, Haiti, right? And they say, oh, because of the criminal activity and gang violence, y'all, is there not gangs in New York? Is there not gangs in LA? They'll say that because of the gangs in Haiti, we're going to ban anybody from traveling there. Makes no sense. Somalia, America destabilized that. Sudan, America's involved with that. This is no accident, folks. This is modern racial exclusion, echoing Jim Crow with immigration restrictions. That's all it is, y'all. This is the new Jim Crow with immigration restrictions on a global level now. It was undercover under Biden. It was undercover under the former President Obama, but Obama was called deporter in chief too. So this is an agenda of Eurocentric delusionalism. Now they're not hiding anymore. They're telling you straight up, these are the countries we want to ban. Black and brown populations. But white countries that are at war currently, like Russia, there's no ban on Russians coming in and out the United States. Even though they're having an open Cold War right now with Russia, and a hot war at that. There's no ban on Eurocentric Ukrainians that are going to war with Russia from entering in and out of the United States. The same thing with the European Israelis that's blowing Gaza to hell and back, that's sending their armaments to Lebanon, Syria, Iran, and all of these places. Why is there no ban on them? They're literally blowing people up and killing people, but there's no ban on them. You better wake up and see the reality, folks. Ice cold injustice is the war on immigration. Now, let's take a historical note. Immigration law has been wielded as a tool of Eurocentric delusionalism to keep Black bodies out. Dr. Gerald Horne made this excellent quote, migration laws have always been coded tools of white supremacy. So what does the Bible say in regards to this thing? How does this impact the 12 tribes? Let's go to the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. Let's go to James chapter 1, verse 1. It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Y'all, they have always wanted to scatter our people into all nations. Let's go to Acts chapter 16. There's nothing new under the sun. There were deportations. Let's go to Acts chapter 18, rather. There were deportations in America, and America is a model of Greece and Rome. Watch this. Acts chapter 18, verse 1. After these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth. This is where we get the letter written to the Jews in Corinth, right? The Corinthians, watch this, and found a certain Jew, wait a minute, they were Israelites living in the area of Athens and Corinth, right? Watch this, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy. Italy is Rome, right? With his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius had commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. So even back then, they were deporting our people of the Afro-Hebraic community out of Rome. There's nothing new under the sun. Migration laws have been coded tools of white supremacy. Now, what are the complications for African Americans? Although African Americans are U.S. citizens, anti-Black deportation policies affect them in various ways. Number one, reinforced anti-Black surveillance state. Black Americans already face over-policing and racial profiling. The normalization of ICE targeting Black immigrants further entrenches a state power to remove Black bodies regardless of citizenship. It normalizes state-sanctioned Black erasure. That's what they've always wanted to do, y'all. That's what they've always wanted to do. They know for a fact that their populations are decreasing. So in order to prevent their population from decreasing, they want to get the Black and brown out of their countries. You understand? This is not something we're making up. This is happening right now in 2025 in front of your face. In front of your face. Don't let them play with your top and make you think, oh, it's just Black immigrants. Oh, it's just Mexicans. Oh, it's no, it's everybody, all 12 tribes. It don't matter if you call yourself FBA. It don't matter if you call yourself ADOS. It doesn't matter if you call yourself African American. They will chase you down. They will say, oh, you look like a Haitian. You look like a Jamaican. Show me your papers, like freaking Gestapo over here, man. Y'all better wake up, because the Bible says, surely oppression makes a wise man mad. You should be upset by this thing because it's weakening the diaspora unity. So number two, Black Americans and Black immigrants are often pitted against each other in political rhetoric. This Trumpist ideology of FBA fosters division, suggesting that immigrants try to steal jobs or are undeserving. This disrupts unity between African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, and Africans, a unity essential for global Afro-descendant liberation. We cannot rule this planet with disunity. We have to come together. If people from Germany and people from Czechoslovakia and people from Poland and people from Europe can band together, although they have a well-documented history of tribalism and war against each other, hell, they participated in World War I and World War II, but could still figure out to work with each other. But for some strange reason, the descendants of captives, the descendants of those held in colonialism, the descendants of those held in bondage and captivity throughout the planet can't figure out that we need to work with each other. We need to deal with each other. We need to strengthen the diaspora and create unity. They're taking political rhetoric from MAGA folks. You will not replace us. Immigrants are trying to replace us. You can't make this stuff up, man. That FBA dogma that y'all get from Tariq Nasheed is messing y'all head over. Because the same people that's defending you, right, and saying, hey, leave Black Americans alone, the same people that's defending us, right? The civil rights era was full of Black Caribbeans and Black Africans. Marcus Garvey was not from the United States. You understand? Kwame Ture was not from the United States. Cicely Tyson was not from the United States. Harry Belafonte was not from the United States. These are all prominent people that we know both funded and assisted in the civil rights era. And they were fighting for our freedom. They don't, listen, when you get pulled over by the cops, they don't stop and ask you, are you a Black from Sierra Leone or are you a Black from Compton? They don't care. They don't care. It's time for us to unite together, to work together as one. Because guess what? We are 12 tribes scattered worldwide. Y'all understand that? Now, I literally saw a video a few days ago by a Black lawyer that was talking about the fact how they were literally going to impact Black Americans. And I want to show you a snippet of this thing, right? So you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, because this is what's impacting our community. And we think because we were born in the United States, that we're United States citizens and we're Black, that we're not going to be affected or impacted because it's only so-called Mexicans being impacted. It's only so-called Afro-Latinos and people of the Caribbean islands, y'all. We got to wake up and smell the coffee. We got to see the shocking proof and evidence of what's going on and how this is impacting all of our people. All of our people. Y'all understand that? So it's very important for us to unite together and expose what's going on, because if you do not stand against injustice, when it knocks on your door, nobody will stand for you. So now, let me show you this video real quick. I'm going to just show you snippets of it. Right, where this civil rights attorney answers the question, is Trump let's share the screen so you can see what we're talking about. Let's share the screen. All right, I'm gonna share the screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. So y'all see that what we're talking about is a reality. This video on YouTube posted literally less than 3 days ago. Civil rights attorney answers if Trump can deport Black Americans. Listen close.
Blacks, and you're trying to take something in, you're trying to take something from them.
Yo, I apologize. It seems like the internet is too I'm having some technical difficulties here, so it seems like I'm not able to broadcast that particular video. So we're going to continue with our discussion here. All right, so ice cold ice. So, number 3, biblical and prophetic fulfillment. In the book of Psalms chapter 83 verse 3-4, it talks about how they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. These deportations are part of a larger strategy to scatter, to divide, and erase the identity of the true descendants of Israel in exile. Number 4, economic impact. Many Black immigrant families contribute to Black African American neighborhoods through business, through care work like nursing homes, nursing facilities, as well as religious communities. Their deportation breaks down local economies, it increases poverty, and tears apart families. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. The same thing they've been doing back then is the same thing they're doing today. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let's read verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall not be any might in thy hand, meaning what? No economic might, no military might, to prevent these nations from causing chaos to our people. They're literally separating sons and daughters from their parents during this immigration ICE debacle. Do y'all remember in 2021 when children were being separated from their families, right? Do y'all remember when that happened? The same cycle is happening now in 2025. And we have to be aware of these things and help prevent these things to help our people. Number 5, legal precedents affecting all Black people. If the courts and ICE are allowing to operate with no oversight, no due process, and racist discretion, that means those same mechanisms can and will be used against African Americans. Historically, laws used to oppress immigrants migrate into domestic policy. For example, stop and frisk. Y'all remember stop and frisk in New York? Y'all remember mass incarceration, right? So if they're doing that to immigrants, there's no way we could be blind to think they're not going to do it to us, because they've already been doing it to us. Now, Trump's immigration policies don't just target illegal aliens. They are part of a longer colonial pattern of anti-Black and brown removal, exile, and erasure. The Bible speaks of our people being scattered and afflicted in strange lands, and this is part of the prophetic pattern. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Matter of fact, let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. Let's read verse 33. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and I will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate and your cities waste. This is showing you that while we're in the process of deportation, while we're in the process of being scattered, colonial mistreatment of our people exists. We are being exiled, we are being removed, and they're trying to erase all history about our people in the Afro-Hebraic diaspora. They won't tell you that it was Black Caribbeans that founded the city of Chicago and Savannah and various places all throughout the United States. Chicago was founded by a Black Haitian. Many people don't even know that. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. And it reads, and the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. You see that? So now we have to understand that this ice cold war of injustice, this war on immigrants, has to be corrected, because if you don't stand against injustice, right, who will do it? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. God has called us to be a nation of kings and priests. We must stand for those that are oppressed. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. And it reads, learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed. What does the Bible say? Relieve the oppressed. What does the Bible say? Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. So, what are some action items that we can take? You can literally contact your Congress to demand investigations inside ICE torture and repeal the travel ban. You can sign petitions to dismantle ICE's abusive solitary confinement operations. You can support frontline lawyers and non-governmental organizations that are aiding to assist asylum seekers. You can also make your voice heard. You can share this content. You can broadcast truth so that the oppressed are not silenced. Now, at the end of the day, these nations that do evil on the earth, do you think they're going to get away with it? The answer is no. The answer is no. Let's go to Psalms chapter 149. Let's go to Psalms chapter 149. Let's see the judgment for the wicked of the earth. Let's go to Psalms chapter 148. 149. And let's read a judgment that God has prepared for these nations. Watch this. This is Psalms chapter 149. Let's start at verse 4. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people, his people. Who told you this Bible was about religion? You are his people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, people of the Afro-Hebraic diaspora, you are God's chosen people. You are special. You are unique. You have a heart. You care for humanity, unlike the wicked of the earth. Watch this. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. We are the meek. The meek shall inherit the earth. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds, meaning we're the ones that's going to be given immortality on resurrection day. Watch this. It says, let the high praises of God be in their mouth, that's the Bible, and a two-edged sword in their hand, that's war. When we have immortality, all these nations that do evil on the earth, they will be held to justice. Watch this. To execute vengeance upon the heathen. What does the Bible say? To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. To bind their kings with chains, meaning they're what? Their presidents, their vice presidents, their prime ministers, their dictators. You understand? To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written, the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. You better praise the Lord for that thing. Now let's go to the last book of the Bible, because somebody might say, forefront, you read that out the Old Testament. Does the New Testament say the same thing? Let's find out. Revelation chapter 13. Let's start at verse 10. This is why the Black Messiah is coming on the earth, to handle the wicked of the earth. Watch this. Revelation chapter 13, start at verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Meaning what? Those that led into slavery shall go into slavery. Those that led us into mass incarceration shall go into mass incarceration. Those that colonize the planet will themselves be colonized by the Black Messiah, baby. We're reading it out of the Bible. We're reading it out of the Bible. Just like we went into captivity, there's a group of people walking around the earth as fugitives. The Bible says they will go into captivity. There's no way around it. The judgment is written. Watch this. And he that unalives with the sword must be unalive with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Do you have faith in this Bible? I sure do. Do you have faith in God Almighty? I sure do. Do you have faith in one another? I sure do. Do you have faith in the humanity of the righteous? I sure do. This has been the Forefront Radio. The war on immigrants is not just policy, it's prophetic injustice. Stay vigilant, keep praying, keep fighting for the stranger among us. Thank you for listening to the Forefront Radio. So now I also want to make a request for contributions to our efforts to teach. We've been teaching the diaspora here in Africa. We've traveled to the continent of Africa to teach our people the truth concerning who we are. Please donate to our efforts to teach via Cash App, which is APHIELLEVI, or through PayPal through the same means, paypal.me/APHIELLEVI. Your efforts will assist us in acquiring new equipment, acquiring cameras, inquiring translators so we can go to speak to these individuals and help them realize that they are part of our diaspora. Some of them don't speak English, but they went through Deuteronomy 28 just like us in the United States. Some of them don't know the reality of who we are, that we are a global diaspora. Some of them never even heard of the transatlantic war against our ancestors. So my responsibility is to educate them and to teach them on what we face in the United States and how they were impacted, because all many of them know is that they got out of captivity in the 1960s, 1950s, right? But many of them don't know that in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, our ancestors were dragged out of Africa and taken to the Americas. So your efforts to teach Black history throughout the world goes a long way. Donate, donate, donate. Contribute to our efforts to teach, APHIELLEVI, on both Cash App and PayPal. Thank you so much for listening to the Forefront Radio, where the truth does not fear investigation. Yes, African Americans are impacted. Yes, Black Haitians are impacted, but we must stand for one another. May the Most High bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you. With that, we say shalom and peace to the 12. This has been another exciting episode of the Forefront Radio. The title of today's episode is Ice Cold Injustice, the War on Immigration. Make sure you share this live stream with your friends, your family, and those